Okay, so let's actually talk about the Rune Slayer update. The update that was delayed. Anyways, that's not important. There's actually kind of a lot to go over. I've been hearing a lot over the past couple of hours, mainly people complaining about Tundra related things. And I haven't gotten to the Tundra yet. I'm still progressing, so I can't really address Tundra stuff in this video. So bear with me. I'll address that sometime during the week as I actually level up and progress to the Tundra. As well as that, we all know Rune Slayer's release, yesterday's release, a couple of hours ago's release, was a bloody mess. It was a buggy mess. I call it Megatron bugs because every time you fix a bug, another bug comes, and yeah, every time they updated the game yesterday, there was a new bug. Like, it's literally Megatron from the Michael Bay series of Transformers. Every time Megatron dies, he comes back stronger. So yeah, it was a mess. There was a lot going on. They nerfed Samurai, and then they gutted Samurai. They realized how badly the gut was. They reverted it. They didn't revert it, but they gave it a slight buff, so it's actually in a pretty decent. So let's actually just kind of break down the update into different segments, different portions, and I'm going to let you guys kind of know everything you need to know about the update. I guess you can say this is so far, because we're not going to be covering the Tundra aspects of it. Okay, so honestly, starting off, let's just start off. Let's address the elephant in the room. I logged on Rune Slayer and I had nothing. I had nothing. I thought it was a prank. I thought it was a dream. Bro, pinch me if I am dreaming. Wake me up. Bro, I hopped on the game and to my surprise, I had 0 slots. 0 slots. Not even a level 1 slot. Not even level 0. Just nothing. I had nothing. I never existed at that point. What am I looking at? Where's my shit? And that was quite bizarre to see, bro. I kind of lost my mind a little bit. I lost my mind, period. Because imagine losing everything, literally out of nowhere. So obviously, I was a bit ecstatic. You know me, sometimes I can be a little bit over dramatic. A little bit over dramatic. But you know, eventually, the developers helped get that sorted. It got patterned, it got fixed, it got resolved after like 30-40 minutes. But still, it got fixed. That's all that matters, right? But yeah, honestly, there was a lot of bug. Now, I do want to say before we move on from this, I do truly understand now why the game definitely had to get delayed 7 days. Because imagine if we got... Imagine if we got Rune Slayer last week, and apparently the bugs last week were game breaking. So if yesterday's bugs weren't game breaking, I would love to know what last week's bugs were looking. Genuinely, honestly, thank you for delaying the game. So if you realized, I'm not reading the patch note because the patch notes are kind of irrelevant to me right now. Yes, there's a bunch of new things that were added that are probably like really good and I should probably go over, but who cares? Let's actually go over the things that I actually experienced with my time during the update as somebody who didn't read the patch note. So first thing I realized yesterday is that if you were lucky to catch on to this, shout out to the people who told me during the stream, I love you guys, there was actually a spin bug. What I mean by spin bug is if you were spinning or re-rolling your races, you are actually able to stack your free spin. So every time you bought 100 Robux race spin, it would give you a free spin stack, and it would stack every time you bought a race spin. So if you bought 5 race rerolls, you would eventually have 5 free spin, which is honestly amazing in my opinion. So I used that to essentially get every race in the game for free. Well, it wasn't for free. Let's just call it for cheaper than it would have if this bug didn't exist. So I was able to get Vampire, Infernim, and Dullahan for essentially 500 Robux, where if I was to try roll each of those races without that bug being a thing, I would have probably cost 5,000 Robux. Yeah, so I definitely got lucky. Let me get rid of Ghoul. Ghoul sucks. Oh my days! The next glitch that actually happened that was actually pretty funny was the money glitch. There was literally infinite money glitch method, and it's kind of upsetting that I find these things out as I'm streaming because the developers were actually watching my stream. So as I found out, the developers also found out because they were reading the chat. So I was actually only able to gain about, I think I got about 3 to 5 gold. I'm pretty sure it was around 5. I got about 5 gold doing this glitch in the space of like 10-15 minutes before the developers shut down the game in order to patch this bug. Essentially, you would literally just use your katana. If you were a samurai, you would buy it for 1 silver, and I think it would sell for about 3 silver, or was it for 5 silver? Anyways, you can see it from the footage in the background. You are gaining a profit every single time, and you would just do this cycle over and over and over and over and over again. Unfortunately, it took me longer because I didn't really have any bags because I was on a new slot, so I didn't get as much gold as a lot of other people did, but it is what it is. Honestly, it is what it is. Free money is free money. There's also a game breaking bug. Now, I don't know if it's patched as of right now because I haven't hopped back on the game, but after this video's out, I will be streaming and we'll be finding out the hard way. There was a soft lock glitch. Now, I don't know if this glitch was because of the new class samurai, or was it because of the new races? When you were actually able to reach level 24, level 25, level 26, you weren't actually able to apply your ability points so that you could actually get your stat boost and evolve, etc. So you're kind of soft locked. You weren't actually able to apply your level increase stats. So you were soft locked where you were at, and it kind of just halted your progression. Now, that was super annoying, but it is what it is. Again, there was a bunch of bugs happening and things of that nature. The devs were getting around to each bug as fast as they could. So yeah, the devs are aware, or they were aware of the issue. And again, I'm not sure if it's patched or fixed right now, but I'll be checking that out myself as soon as we hop back in game. As well as that, the new golden fairy. Now, golden fairy is not a pet anymore. It's more of a quit. Now, if you actually have a golden fairy, if you press tab and then scroll down on the side where your rings are, there is a golden fairy, or there is a fairy tab where you are able to put your golden fairy or any of the other fairies you have, so it doesn't actually take up a pet slot, which is actually super good because golden fairies before used to make progression, especially if you were a solo player, way more hard. So it is actually really nice that the developers found a solution to this. Quick-witted, quick thinking. However, the issue now is that golden fairy is not tradable, even when it's not soul bound, which it doesn't really make sense that golden fairy isn't tradable. It's kind of annoying. If we're being quite honest, it's kind of annoying, but I do understand why golden fairy isn't tradable anymore, because people were duping was an issue. However, the fact that you can't even trade it anymore just makes trading in this game, the value for trading in general, point of trading in general, just kind of goes on, it goes in the gutter, because golden fairy was definitely one of the more, well, was the best thing you could trade for, genuinely. So not being able to trade for golden fairy just kind of deters you from the point of trading, unless you're looking for specific items, etc. But golden fairy was really that end goal. Everybody wants at least one golden fairy. Okay, now I also wanted to quickly talk about the new races. Don't worry, I'll give detailed breakdowns on all the new things in terms of races, synergies, what goes best with what tomorrow. Today's video is not for that. We're just briefly going over some important things so that I can actually hop back in the game and play it myself. So as you guys do know, we actually have 2 new races, Infernim and Vampire. Now, quickly going over what I noticed yesterday. This is the Rune Slayer info Discord server, but Infernim sucks. Infernim sucks. Now, I rolled Infernim like 6 different times yesterday, and I actually did progress my Infernim account until I actually found out what the race evolutions give. Now, once you evolve, and you evolve at level 25, if we don't know this by now, once you evolve, you have 3 things to pick from: 2-horn, 4-horn, 6-horn. Now, 2-horn gives a 6% speed buff, which is like not bad, but it's not good either. Doesn't really do anything. 4-horn gives a 10% magic power buff, which is actually really good if you're going mage or any class that's mage related. Now, in my opinion, there are better races for mage stuff, but this is still good if you want that extra damage. And then you have Six Horn, which gives 20% fire damage. Now, in my opinion, 20% fire damage is decent, and the only way you're really utilizing the fire attack increase is with the race's ability. And the race ability is pretty good, but it's not good at the same time. It does give you a little dash forward, and if any mob is inside the circle, or knock them up. Now, PvE is not that amazing. I guess in PvP it's pretty decent because it also gives mobility as well as crowd control by knocking your opponent up in the air. But at the same time, who cares about PvP in this game? Because it's not me. This is a PvE game in my opinion. So I just don't think any of these they don't make sense, especially since I don't utilize mage, and bro, the new class is samurai. No one's making a Infernim slot with a mage when samurai exists. You know what I mean? Anyways, I just think this is trash. All of its race evolutions buffs are trash. Dullahan got buffed. Apparently Dullahan's dealing a lot of damage now, and apparently they increase the health back you get every time you kill a mob. So Dullahan, if that's true, Dullahan should be actually like really good right now. And Vampire is just significantly better. Now Vampire doesn't have a race evolution, however its base race actives and passives are just way better than anything Infernim has. Way better. Just way better. Here you have the racial passives. While being its day, your damage is nerfed by 15%, but when it's night, your base stats are increased by 20%. So during the nighttime, you have 20% damage increase on everything. Just flat damage increase when it's nighttime. I mean, day and night cycles, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's like 20 minutes day and 20 minutes night. I'm not 100% sure, but you can argue, oh, but during the day you get nerfed by 15%. So what? At night I get 20%. I just think it's way better. Just that passive alone is just better than the whole of Infernim's kit. Just want to throw that one out there. And we're not even done. Vampiric, you take 5% more damage increase from all sources. Holy damage, who cares? Active racial passives, you heal every time you take bleed damage, but it causes your hunger to go down insane. But your hunger causes you to go insane. Wow, I can't read. I'm dyslexic. I'm not dyslexic, but I'm just trash. You now take 15% increased damage from all sources of holy damage. Now you can argue this is pretty like mixed. However, you heal every time you take bleed damage, which means bleed damage just doesn't really affect you that badly, bro. And who's dealing bleed damage to you other than other vampires and ninjas, right? But you also have Bloodthirst. Every time you bleed an opponent, you heal for 50% of the damage done by the bleed. And you literally have an ability, a racial ability, Sanguine Burst. Fire a short burst of flames, and that causes bleed damage, right? Genuinely, really, it's either bleed or some sort of lingering damage, but I'm very sure it's bleed. And if you go samurai with this, samurai has abilities that causes bleed damage, or you can go ninja with it and you guaranteed have moves that cause bleed damage. Honestly, it's a win-win, right? Win-win. I just genuinely think Vampire overall is just better than Infernim. Infernim's actually just pretty useless. I think it's the worst legendary now because Sephirim is just better. Is Angel? I didn't even know Angel was a thing. I don't really care about Angel, but yeah, Sephirim is just better. Sephirim's just better than Infirm. You can argue Sephirim is just up there with Vampire. I guess I'll make a tier list later, but you can argue it's up there with Vampire. They did nerf the 2-wing ability, but even though they nerfed the 2-wing ability, at least it gives you 25 agility, which is always just going to be good, right? Extra stats is always going to be good. And Amphibu and Ghoul actually have race evolutions now, which I'll cover in an actual video when we go over races and tier list and things of that nature, because this video is too long now. And then obviously everybody had a problem with the loading bugs. I mean, there was a simple solution to this, but a lot of people wouldn't really realize this. It took everyone in stream telling me as well. If you joined higher populated servers, you were able to join, and lower populated servers you weren't able to join. I'm just assuming it was some sort of memory issue within the game. So I mean, the developers said it's fixed. The developers have said it's fixed, but I don't know how true or untrue that is because I haven't hopped in the game yet. But obviously if it's fixed, it's not really an issue. But yeah, that's about it. Overall, the launch day for Rune Slayer was pretty hectic, pretty bizarre, pretty crazy. It was wild, it was chaotic. But you know what, I feel like the developers tried. I honestly can't even be mad at it. Like, the developers are actively trying to get everything under control. Again, I haven't experienced the Tundra, so I don't know how bad it is yet, so I'm saving any real reviews until after I've actually experienced it. But this was literally just summarizing my first. What was actually the point of this video? I don't know. Just highlighting how bad the launch update was, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But let me go. I'm all over the place. Let me know what you guys think of the launch day, of what you experienced so far. What do you think of the update? I know there's a bunch of bugs and people have been sending a bunch of memes and pictures, etc. But let me know what you guys think. You're gonna stick around, give it a chance, and see what happens. What's up? I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Love you, bye. I'm gonna shut up. See you guys next time. Peace.